The youth mentoring program is, I mean, it's what it says on the tin. It's a mentoring program, which means there's a limited amount of contact time for young people in which we cover essential topics of discussion intended to guide them through some of their most important formative years between the ages of 14 and 18. And some of the 2 hours of contact time that is in this program is dedicated to teaching them some aspects of Islam that are absolutely essential, like the foundations of Iman, some important principles of spirituality, and to put them onto that path, and as well as to kind of assess their level of Islamic knowledge so that we can find alternative ways to cover those knowledge gaps. So where we identify a knowledge gap, we would refer them to a course on Mawarid Lifestyle. So for example, if somebody didn't know their salah properly, we'd put them onto a course for free, of course, that would cover the essentials of salah. So all of that is going to be done with a minimum amount of contact a week, just 2 hours. And the mentoring aspect of it, which is really the key purpose, is that they have constant contact both through the year of the youth mentoring program, as well as beyond, because they'll always have contact with their mentors, as well as our whole mentoring arrangement, the whole mentoring system that we will be building. They'll have access to those mentors. So and in addition to just having access to a mentor and being able to communicate and ask questions and receive counseling and so on, there will be some active sort of mentoring sessions, one-to-one sessions, where we will talk to the students about, their objectives in life, their plans for the future, any problems that they're having, help them plan their academic studies properly, encourage them to do well, all of those things, but in a more one-to-one capacity, so that they can bring up private issues, so that you'll have the contact time as well as these mentoring sessions making up the whole of the program. And another aspect of the purpose of the youth mentoring program is we want this to become scalable. We want this to become something that is accessible by youth across the country, across the world perhaps. It's online after all. So that it is something that supplements maktab and madrasa provision. That's extremely important, because most young people between the age of 14 and 18 end up leaving their previous Islamic studies arrangements in maktab or madrasa, and they end up without any Islamic studies, without any contact with teachers or ulama, in the most important and the most vulnerable years of their formative life. So here they are, going through the hormones of puberty, facing difficult questions as they go through school and study all these diverse subjects, end up with all sorts of different kind of pressures from peers and so on, but they've lost all of their Islamic guidance, right? They start to distance themselves from parents, right, now that they're teenagers. So the time when they need their studies the most, they need their teachers the most, they need guidance the most, we tend to just let them go. And the youth mentoring program is designed to cover that gap. So the idea is you have between the ages of 5 and 14, 15, young people have their maktab education. And then after that, they have this mentoring arrangement, which is suitable for children despite how busy they are with their GCSEs and their A-levels, because it's only a couple of hours a week. It's light touch, but it gives them that contact, right, during these vulnerable years of their life, these formative years of their life. So that's the purpose of the youth mentoring program. So we will continue to roll this out year on year, hopefully more than once a year if we get the response that we are hoping for, so that we can make it scalable and make it available, to young people across the board, across the UK, across the Western world, inshallah, the English-speaking Western world. So in terms of topics and subjects in the youth mentoring program, so there's two parts to the 2 hours that we will spend with young people. The contact time. 1 hour is dedicated to weekly talking sessions. This is when basically we just want young people to bring up whatever they want, and we want to talk and just chat. It'll be informal. We want to make it interesting. We want to make it rich. We want them to bring things to the table. We want it to be like an atmosphere of dialogue and discussion and so on. Something that young people are going to enjoy and look forward to. I've done this already with a group of young people, and the talking sessions are the bits that they enjoy the most, right? Always, because they can bring whatever they want to the table, right? And discuss it in this safe kind of environment. And then an hour of every week is going to be dedicated to covering some subject material. Our focus with the youth in the youth mentoring program in that hour is going to be to cover the foundations of Iman. It's a really critical part of all of my interactions with young people. Whenever I teach them the foundations of Islam first. And by that I mean foundations, i.e. proofs of Islam. So proofs of Islam, proofs of the existence of Allah, proofs for the truth of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Some critical skills, how to look at the world critically, how to critique other worldviews and other ideas that challenge Islam, and so on. Answer difficult questions about Islam, against Islam, deal with some of these issues that cause turbulence in the minds of young people, such as evolution, secularism, liberalism, how to deal with the power of our desires and how that can turn a person away from Islam. All of these types of issues basically we focus on. And this will be, of course, this will be kind of formalizing some of the stuff that's going to come up in the talking sessions. Then what we're going to do is cover essential gaps in knowledge. Like, for example, I've always found that young people, their knowledge of puberty-related issues is almost always inadequate. Almost always inadequate. I don't know why, but often it's sensitivities, embarrassment, etc., or just young people's education stopping at the wrong time, right? When they need this type of thing the most as they're going through puberty, often they've forgotten the things that they've learned before. Perhaps 2 years ago, their maktab teacher went through some aspects of puberty and they've now forgotten, but now they need it, right? So these things need to be taught again, and they need to be taught in detail and in depth, and all the embarrassing stuff needs to be talked about and discussed, right? So we will cover things like that. And then another aspect of some time will be spent in these sessions also to identify gaps in knowledge. So all of the essentials of Islam, we have courses on them at Mawarid Lifestyle. And youth mentoring students, where we find a gap in a particular thing, like for example, like their knowledge of wudu is wrong, for example, we'll refer them to our Salah course, right? They're weak when it comes to the rules of fasting. We'll refer them to the fasting course and make sure that they cover that and kind of oversee their study of those subjects. So that's basically, in terms of what we will cover, that's the idea. So there'll be this kind of, there'll be these talking sessions to bring up whatever young people are going through, to discuss anything that they want to, right? Any questions that they want. And then there'll be some formal education that will cover some key content, but also identify gaps in learning and so on. So they'll actually end up covering quite a lot of material, but some of it will be based contingent upon it being a gap in knowledge, and other things will be covered systematically throughout the year. Then the third aspect of the youth mentoring program in terms of what will be covered is going to be covered through the mentoring aspect, the one-to-one mentoring aspect. And that is two things really. One is there'll be one-to-one sessions. We will do some personal development planning, but and kind of overarching that will be a kind of an informal program that will encourage good habits of things like reading, good habits of ibadah, and so on. And we will monitor students through these one-to-one sessions. I mean, there's not going to be so many. There'll be 2 or 3 one-to-one sessions a year, but there'll be a kind of scoring system so that every one-to-one session, these topics will come up, and we will look at how they've progressed. And of course, throughout the year, one of the contents that we will cover will be spirituality. So they'll be constantly encouraged to take these targets seriously. So effectively, what we're saying is part of their personal development planning and part of their spiritual and personal development will be through a kind of system of target setting, right? Some of it will be academic and intellectual. So, for example, reading a book every so often, or a regular reading habit. and some of it will be spiritual in nature. So, daily dhikr, being punctual in their salah, and so on and so forth. And some of it will be character development, volunteering for things, serving their parents, keeping family ties, those kind of things. But these will be kind of based on target setting. That's how we will cover a kind of personal development aspect of the youth mentoring program, but mainly monitored through the targets will be monitored mainly through these one-to-one mentoring sessions. The youth mentoring program is for 14 to 18-year-olds. So when we say 18, we're kind of saying, like end of sixth form, but also early university, right? People who first year of university will also be kind of, 18 still. And on the other end, we're talking people who are coming towards the end of secondary education. And here we often get requests if we would make exceptions for mature 13-year-olds. But we'll consider those requests on a person-by-person basis. And I think other than that, as long as parents are willing to work to kind of work with us in the development of these young people, it's for all youth, and it's for boys and girls. So that's an important thing to remember, actually, that the youth mentoring program is for boys as well as for girls of this age group. The youth mentoring program is 1 year long, starting from September to July. It's about 34 weeks. It's 2 hours of contact time a week, plus some additional mentoring time. The mentoring sessions will be scheduled according to the convenience of the student with their mentor. So this course will begin around, I think, the second week of September. It will start. You'll have to, you can see the exact dates on the website. And enrollment is going to be through the website, because it is an online program. So through the website, go to mawaridlifestyle.com. Go to the youth mentoring program page. It's quite prominently featured on the website right from the home page, and basically fill in the application form, and then we will get back to you with any further requirement. You have to provide all of the information that has been requested. That's really important. We won't process incomplete applications, so please make sure you submit all of the information that has been requested, and then we'll get in contact with you for anything else that we need. And then upon payment of the first installment of fees, we will confirm enrollment, which will involve basically giving details of the Zoom sessions, but also enrolling every single student onto our learning management system so that they can access resources and they can access recordings of every single session. So all sessions will be recorded, inshallah ta'ala, barring any technical problems. And also they'll get access to things like chat groups and so on. So we intend to stay in constant contact with the students so that the mentoring aspect of the program is an ongoing thing, and we want to make it kind of enjoyable. We want it to be a nice environment for the boys and the girls, so they make new friends who are like-minded, and we want a kind of a formal experience through the weekly contact time, but also informal discussions and so on, continuing through chat, inshallah.